Hello, can you hear me now? Hello?
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. How are you?
Thank you. Welcome to the meetup.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud.
Okay.
Got me?
Yeah. Have you been the last 2 weeks or so? I forget when the last one was.
Yeah, that was about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Everything is good. Just a little cold here today in Arizona.
How cold is it?
Let me see the readout. 49.
Oh, yeah, that's a little chilly.
Yeah, we're not used to stuff like that, but yeah, when it rains and whatnot, it snows up north. We get the rain here, and then it cools everything down.
Yeah, we got a lot of rain too. It seems like on the East Coast the weather kind of travels up. So it's like something will happen down here and then my family up in Massachusetts will say a few days later they got it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you're sending them storms, huh?
Yeah.
That's cool. What's the weather there like temperature wise?
Some nights and mornings it can get a little cold, like we're like 50s. But most of the time during the day it's pleasant, like
Oh,
six 60s, 70s.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get 60s for a little while. I think it's gonna stay like this for another like week. Last year was a pretty cool year. I play pickleball at night, so I know like last year was pretty cool.
Were you inside or
Oh,
outside?
always outside.
Yeah.
They have indoor ones here too. I don't know. I like the outdoors.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I didn't move here to trap myself indoors, you know. People move to warm climate because they want to enjoy the warm weather, or at least outdoors. Like back home, you couldn't think of pickleball outdoors.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that luxury of warm weather, even though it cools off at times, but much better than what it was. So no complaints.
Fair enough.
How's your investing going? You got any good books, or you said you were reading some new books?
Oh, I finished One Up on Wall Street
What do you
and
think?
oh, it was great.
Yeah,
Um, Definitely one of the best books I've read so far about investing.
yeah,
He was just so detailed with everything, and it almost made it look easy
yeah.
how he explained it. Um, Definitely one I'm gonna reference like as time progresses. I feel like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he has a good blend of humor, keeping things interesting. Because let's face it, finances isn't the most exciting topic in the world. But he has just the way he puts things. It's kind of funny. He has a good sense of humor added to
y-
it, and just so like common sense, so he doesn't overwhelm anybody. Like the Intelligent Investor, I would recommend that a lot more. It's really intense, and a lot of people.
yeah,
It's a big book to begin with that intimidates a lot of people. And then when you get into all the like the numbers and things, and it's really, really intense. And it just kind of ends up overwhelming. I didn't even read them all myself. I got about halfway through and I took out some different formulas I liked from it, and that was about it.
yeah. It took me like 3 months to read it. I just and I the charts were kind of tough sometimes, but
Right.
I wanted to make sure I got everything, and a lot of it I didn't understand,
Yeah.
but I feel like those books are the ones that make your brain grow.
Sometimes I think sometimes they deplete your brain too. It's like, sometimes they just make you feel stupid and sense
Yeah.
like you just lost something on the way. And yeah, I didn't really grab enough content, like I got a couple cool things, but in like the value part of it. But I think the one I recommended to you, the interpretation of financial statements, that's probably the best book, just for especially like just starting out.
Yeah, I think Benjamin Graham wrote that too, the same author.
It was, I think, Buffett's wife that put that together.
Yeah, there's one by Benjamin Graham, and then there's one, that one you're talking about. I
Yeah,
don't
I like
know.
the one by his wife. It's a little white book.
Mhm. I don't know. Is there a difference between the two of them? Because I was thinking of reading both just to see.
Yeah, I think the other one, I'll look into it and let you know about it. I didn't
Okay.
know there was more than one copy, so that's news to me.
Is how's the investing world treating you?
Oh, good. Yeah, always good. I keep a log and everything, and doing a daily YouTube. So, I always work on content and finding companies. That's what I usually do anyway. But now, I just kind of incorporate it into the
Hmm.
YouTube. So people get like an active look. Cause I look on and I don't know, maybe you can chime in with like, I just am discouraged by what's out there. Maybe I don't look at the right channels or what have you, but the ones I do look at don't they don't give me enough meat. I don't get enough content to subscribe and just keep up with them.
I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I have found that too. Um, Actually, I think the most content I've gotten was from like the annual Berkshire Hathaway meetings,
Oh
like
yeah,
when I watch videos of those. But I found a few good channels, but um, it seems like a lot of them like kind of hit a wall. Like they talk about like, the concepts and everything, and then, they don't go past a certain point.
right.
Um, I'm not sure if they do that on purpose or not, but um, there are some good ones, but it's YouTube's good for like filling in gaps of information. It's not like you can't like survive off of it learning something, especially as detailed as investing.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm trying to do. I think I did a pretty good job. And if you guys aren't familiar, what I do is I set up a
Oh
spreadsheet
yeah,
like this and go through. So I go on Finviz and I get discounted stocks. So I'll just run you through kind of like the motions. And this time, what I did on Finviz, I switched it up a little bit. I went over 10 on my free cash. And then on the technical side, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. So on the technical side, I go 52-week. On this one I didn't. So let's see. I go fundamental, cash over 10, and descriptive, I go over $20. And then what that does is really gives you companies that are making money, right? Because that's why they have the free cash flow. As you can see, there's only 41 here on my list. And I was kind of looking at this one, this Heister Yale Materials Handling, this HY seemed interesting. I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys about it. They just, young company, and they just started making money. They were in the red, but the PE is low for what it is, 10, and they offer a yield. Let's see, about 10 years. And what's nice when you set up a scenario like this, you already know they have free cash, which is one of my main concerns with companies I don't know about, is I like to make sure they have cash. So yeah, let's see if I did draw a chart. Yeah, let's see. So yeah, basically 9 year maybe company. So they trailed for a while. They trailed the market for a while, as you can see by the chart. But then like the 2 year, you can kind of notice that recently with this company, they just started making money. So, and then I go on I like the macro trends. Just want to share two. Yeah, see, they were losing money until last quarter of last year. So they're a material handling company. Let me Google. Because like I said, I just want to try something a little different with my search. And then like this year, you can see now they're starting as of last quarter last year, the earnings are 45 cents, $1.56 to $2. But the stock kind of went to Pluto, $30 to $65. So maybe somebody knows something, it looks like. Maybe some insiders building up the company. Maybe they know something that I don't, but I think it's interesting enough where you might want to put them on your watch list. And that's kind of the whole point of this episode. You hear about companies and maybe your friend says something at work or you pick up something on Google and you let it slide. You don't think nothing of it, but I'd encourage you to do a spreadsheet kind of like this. It's free. Google Sheets or Excel, and you just have the company down and then the ticker symbol. So right here, I put high, and then this pipes right into the market right away for me. So it's just, I'm already there. And then this is saved essentially. So I could bring it up later on or something like that. The life is, a lot of different things are coming at you all at one time. And sometimes you hear of a great company and you just kind of forget about it. Where this if you make a goal that I'm trying to find quality companies in my life to make money on, then the spreadsheet will help, facilitate those goals. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's just kind of a good way just to set this up, and then it kind of motivates me to find more companies and then compare them and things like that. Other than that, what is your experience with the group? Like where are you guys at investing wise? Are you active investors or not so much? Like Ed, Emily, can you hear me?
Yes.
What about Ed? I got Ed on here, Emily.
Yes, I can hear you.
Is that Ed?
Yep, yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. What is your background, Ed?
Oh, sorry, I kind of lost you for a second.
Sure.
Background, doing some investing, mostly through financial advisors, but I kind of want to do this on my own. Figure that it's probably always a good thing to learn what they are supposed to be doing for you and make sure that they're doing it right.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at. So
Okay.
not too experienced myself. I've done a little bit of option trading and but it's always like you said, right? Like you're always looking out for companies and trying to grow your portfolio and see what's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I did an episode. I'll message you a while back on financial advisors,
Mhm.
because my experience is there's not a lot of good ones. I mean, that's fine if you have success through them, that's great. But I really appreciate you taking the time and wanting to do it yourself, because a lot of them don't know about stocks. A lot of them are kind of like doctors where they're pushing drugs and stuff. They do have a tendency to push companies, you know, and they get incentives for that. So instead of just speaking from their heart or their mind, they're influenced, and a lot of them don't know how to buy and sell high, you know, like stocks at all. They're not in it in stocks themselves. A lot of them just do mutual funds, and a lot of them just do it because it sounds cool or their friend did it. You know what I mean? Like their
Mhm.
heart isn't into it, so they just do it like, you know, this is something I thought I'd get into, and they treat it like selling cars in a way. You know what I mean? Versus
Mhm.
a whole life scenario. Like for me, I'm a lifer doing this. You know, I like to buy and sell, and I always like to think you're one company away for retirement. That's my mindset, you know, and that's reality. You know, if you think that, you know, I had that happen a real well close, you know, with Tesla 2020 before ARC came out and all that stuff. You know, I'm right out down the street from Tesla in the mall, and I just kind of liked the whole idea of what they were doing and just seen it firsthand. And when the stock crashed, well, it was $1,000, so I mean, it didn't really crash that much. But I mean, I bought it at $1,000, and I got a 389% return. So things like that wake you up. You know, like this stuff is possible. It gives you confidence and motivation. And before that, you know, I had like 10 years of background through my grandpa and my godfather. They were heavily into stocks, and so I got to see it firsthand through them. But I had to learn everything on my own. They didn't really teach anything. So, and so my background, you know, I use FinViz a lot and Big Charts. Those are like my two tools. They're both free. I don't know why. To be, you know, you put up with ads from FinViz, but Big Charts, it's owned by MarketWatch, and I don't know. You know, I knew about this since I want to say like 2004, and I just am really happy. It makes so much sense to me because when you're investing in a stock, you're always competing against the market, right? You're always competing against other people in the marketplace that are buying and selling stock, including the indexes and mutual funds and everything combined. So the bottom line is every investor wants the same thing. They want their stock to do good, right? So if your company is not outpacing the index, you're in real trouble because they'll jump ship. And for you to buy low and sell high, you need more buyers. You're not going to have more buyers if the stock is underperforming the market. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone on board with that?
Yep.
I know you guys are probably new to the big charts and whatnot. I do, like I said, a YouTube daily video. Make Stocks Fun is my channel. And I encourage you to subscribe and kind of just follow along. I know one session a week, or I'll do whatever you guys want. You know, like you can message me and tell me like more sessions or what have you. But like I'm glad to see you and wanting to do better and know that, you know, the stock world is awesome because there's only a few ways to get rich, you know, really, when you come right down to it: inheritance, real estate, and stocks. And stocks are businesses. Businesses do what? They offer product and services to impact people's lives. And if you think of the best companies out there, you know, Apple always comes to mind. Why? Because, well, if you lose your phone, it's death. You know, why is that? Well, because everything's on your phone. If you lost your phone, you're in a world of hurt, right? I mean,
Right.
I mean, and the name, the brand, and everything. I mean, nothing really compares to it. You know, if you own an Apple product, a lot of you, you know, when a new Apple product comes out, you're waiting in line and things like that, you know, waiting for the next best thing. And if you see, so basically I compared Apple over the last 10 years. The orange line is the market. It's the Dow Jones. And Apple is the black line that's trending above. And that's what you want to see. You want to see a company that's always outtrending the market. So Apple's one example. Home Depot is another one. Why is Home Depot good? Well, Amazon's been trying to steal tools from Home Depot for a long time, but they're unable to do it. Why? Because they're everywhere in all the metro areas. They're convenient and they have this area kind of sewn off. Them and Lowe's, you know. Amazon's been around since a long time now with the internet, and they haven't been able to really disturb their business. So I doubt in the next 10 years that they'll be able to do anything differently. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because sorry, I should have introduced myself. I was outside. I actually work for Carvana.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm
Yeah. Yeah, this is Emily speaking, by the way. I kind of like passively invest. Like because I work I work at Carvana as like a corporate as a data analyst. It's like a typical 9 to 5. I don't like spend a lot of time like I wish I could like actively researching stocks. Like I have like kind of a long time horizon because I started investing like after college, like back in 2019, and I wasn't like super like consistent with it. So I just have like a lot of index funds and like all the tech stocks.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride with Carvana.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, did you take advantage when the stock went down to $3 last year?
yeah, I have like RSUs, and like an employee stock purchase plan. So I get the shares at 10%. So yeah, that's worth quite a bit. Well, like maybe like it depends on the stock price, but it's fluctuated from like 50K to 90K. I've been there for almost 3 years, but and but some of it's not, or like not all of it's vested. Um, only like a portion of it vest, like my RSUs.
I understand, but I mean, specifically, like when the stock dropped to $3, did you personally?
A little bit, not that much, because I was always like really scared of dipping my toes in it. But
Oh, I was too. I was too.
yeah.
You know, it's hard. You know, I'm not gonna talk all this, you know, like I know what to do all the time, every time. Percentage wise, I'm really good. And I'm trending up, you know, but like Carvana is one that scared me because it actually went so low. I was like, I went into panic mode. Like I didn't know, and they're not that big yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know like how many states they're in?
Oh, sorry, what was the question?
How many states Carvana's in right now?
Oh, I would say I don't know the exact number, but if I had to guess, it would probably be like 30 states or less. It's not all states yet, and it's just in the US. Um, more in like Pacific Northwest, East Coast. Um, I'd say are like the biggest areas. But yeah.
Do you know how many locations?
I think vending machines like 200. I could actually probably just pull up the numbers too in a bit.
Because I tried to Google it the other day and I was unable to get what I wanted. Like I was just trying to figure out like how many new locations this year they were working on.
I probably can find that out pretty easily in either like our company updates or on our earnings.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, if you guys don't know,
Yeah.
it's a company that does vending machines. I want to say they're about 6. They have like 6 levels high, and there's like 4 cars per level.
Yeah, I work as a data analyst, by the way, like on the product side. So like I know most of like the product itself. Like expansion I don't know as well, but I'm trying to always learn more. And like
Yeah,
I should know my own company.
exactly kind of what I was thinking. Find an innovative company, maybe Carvana, it can literally change your life. Like it can literally set your life financially. You could be financially free from this one concept. And being in Arizona, like when I'm on 202, they're right down the street. You know, so you see them. It's good advertising. I mean, the way they designed it, it's a small little plot of land. It goes vertically up. Like I said, about 6 levels. I don't know about the other locations. I would love to know the other, like 30 states they're in. Love to know like how many states they're going to branch out to and all that good stuff, because you want to know how to get rich on stocks. You know, we're catching at do you know the inception date when this company first started?
Like when it went public.
Yeah.
Uh, April. I remember it was 2012. Wait, no, 2012 was when it started. Never mind. Sorry, I lied. It's 2017 they went public. I think it was April or March 2017. It was founded in 2012. I remember.
And that, guys, this is a really young company. I mean, you think of like Google and all those, they take a while. Sometimes they take, you know, decade, 2 decades just to scratch the surface before they get all the execs they need on the board of directors to do the things they need to do. You know, I follow a lot of companies, and sometimes it just takes a long time before they start treading water, you know, but this is remarkable. I mean, like, I'll give you Dutch Brothers, for example. They started in 92, or actually a little earlier before that, you know, but before they got everything together, 92, and they just became a stock 2020. So sometimes, you know, the pace of a company varies from company to company, but like some like Carvana, it's really impressive what they've done so far in this quick amount of time. This is really not that long of a time. You know, they just started 2012, 5 years later, they're on a stock exchange. 5 years later, they're in 30 states. So this is something definitely to take note of. You know, that companies like this, Dutch Brothers, Wingstop, companies that are constantly expanding and aggressively going state to state, putting up new locations, is signs of things that can make you wealthy. Of course, you want to check everything else too. And I'll show you real quick. So what I would do for Carvana is I'm on Yahoo Finance. And then I check free cash flow. So I go under financials. Yeah, by the way, great job, Emily. You know, going in and taking advantage of all your stock options and everything. I think that's awesome, you know, that you're not only working there, putting your time in, but you're also putting your dollars to work too. So it's really cool, you know.
Thank you. I'm trying to learn.
No, I mean, that's better. Like I talk to people that work at PayPal, and I ask them, "Oh, how's your life at PayPal?" Obviously, you know, that's a stock company. And they're like, "Well, I had to dump the stock because I don't agree with this and that." And I'm like, "But you still work there." Well, yeah. So it's like the dots aren't connected in my book. You know, it's like okay, you're gonna spend your time, but not your dollars. So you know, it's kind of
Yeah,
thing.
we had to turn around a lot of things, and because I've been through, I don't know how many layoffs at this point, survived like three at least 3 big layoffs, or maybe 2. And we really focused, I think, in 2023 last year on like getting profitable and cutting costs. Like a lot of my work was like based on as a data analyst, like figuring out which A/B test like reduce driving miles to, at the end of the day, like cut cost. I think we are like, the whole plan has always been the same. We just like modified our plan to like return, like focus on profitability, get to positive free cash flow, and then like return to growth. So I think we've done a good job of adapting. It's funny because the other day, or maybe it was a few weeks ago actually, that Amazon was trying to get into cars, but it says like, or I read some article that Amazon has been trying to get into car sales for like years. They like partnered with Hyundai recently. They don't do delivery of cars yet. But it's a tricky business, I'd say, like, because Carvana is all like vertically integrated. Like every
Yeah.
state has different like fees.
And Amazon doesn't have all the answers. They do have a huge wallet. But
Yes.
than that, I mean, I think they're gonna take some ventures that just don't work for them, and as a consumer, I'm not all that impressed always, like they let me down. They don't have, personally, I rather go pick it up at Walmart or Target, if I can shop locally. They seem like they have a great selection. Their prices are pretty darn good. That's what keeps them in business. But there's some areas like I'm a collector and like die casts and action figures, things like that. They don't know what they're doing at all there. I mean, they drop the ball. Like eBay, in my opinion, is a lot better, or just like these niche sites like Direct consumables, and I'll buy Direct all day long versus Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And taking on cars, they might get burned. They might just, like you said,
Yeah.
it is very, very complex. And as Carvana gets in it, they're gonna know their business better every year, that they're figuring things out. And as you can see by the numbers, they started at -$1 million free cash. And now
Yeah.
finally in the black.
It's kind of, yeah, was very negative a lot of times.
Well, yeah, they have a lot of stuff to figure out. There's a lot of heavy competition.
It's capital. It's a very capex intensive business.
Yeah, there's a lot out there. You got CarMax. You have a lot of discounted. CarMart. A lot of different car dealerships. Plus the major ones. Toyota's still trying to get back in, and they were #1 for a long time, and now they're starting to feel the pain. Nissan's starting to catch up, and
Mm-hmm.
Tesla, obviously. Great. Other than that, do you guys have any other companies that maybe you want to look into or investing? Questions?
Actually, sorry to, a question, maybe going back to the free cash. What would be the metrics that you're looking for? I guess you mentioned that you're looking from a kind of, you want to see a positive growth, but what would be a good marker that he says, this company is doing really good? Like maybe, I mean, that's the second one you mentioned is going from negative to positive. But do you have like percentage that you would say this is good, this is not good?
Everything just kind of, you really have to look at the big picture. Like Carvana, it's not going to be the same as Toyota, right? Or even Tesla, because Carvana, they're still trying to figure it out. They only have 30 states they're in. They're only halfway through the US. They have to figure out their cost of acquisition, the cost of sale, all those different things. If you ever watch like Shark Tank, they camera home all the little different numbers, but they're figuring out. And I, as an investor, just like to get an idea just by logging it. So there's really no percentage or anything. Like earnings per share, I look for 15% year over year is kind of the rule of thumb. But if they're a newer company, I want more than 15%. They should be doing a lot more than that. And I'll give you some examples here. Because like I said, every day on YouTube for the last 3 weeks, I've been using FinViz, and this is the company list that I found so far. And I go through the free cash. This is this R column. So this is free cash on the side, in the winner is Johnson Controls. So I'm just logging it. And, if there's companies that have negative, or I feel like my dollar is going to be invested somewhere else, I get rid of them. And that's what I did. I terminated these companies on the bottom here sometimes because of the free cash situation, because I felt like they should have more cash, and they didn't. They have negative numbers like these ones down here. And I really like Titan. I was getting kind of into them perform line products. I was getting into them too, but then under -117, -14, and I couldn't find a justification for that. Like Carvana, I probably could find a reason why they would be in the hole, because that would be a little more obvious to me, being a young company trying to figure things out. But like Johnson Control, I would expect them to have, you know, money in the bank, and they had the most out of all these companies I've been researching. They have 1.6 million. So to me, that makes me want to give them a score. And that's why I did here. I don't have the score here. That's why I put them down like an A+, because a big deal for me as an investor, you know, that offer, when they offer a dividend, I like that, but I like increasing dividends. So, you know, I go on the stock analysis. I'll go on like JCI. Yeah, if they don't have free cash flow, that's one of the first things that they'll X out is your dividend. As an investor, that's the last thing I want to see is, you know, less payout. So JCI going back 2015, they're like at 18 cents and they go 21, 24, 47 or 470. I don't know what that was. That was kind of weird. That's probably not in line. So 25, 26, 27, 20. So it's always going up, and that's very important. And then you go in like Taiwan Semiconductor, which has the most free cash I've ever seen, like 500 million. And the dividends are all over the place. And it's like, as an investor of Taiwan going forward, I'll probably get my 30, 40% gain and I'm out. You know, I don't like being treated this way. So yeah, there's no, unfortunately, there's no real answer to your free cash question. I just try to gauge it. You know, if it's an industry like energy, you know, I'll go with other energy companies and I'll compare one against the other and see who has more cash. And I actually did that. I wanted to invest in this company, NEE, or no, E, that's Ameren, because I was looking at a power company, and I got to that situation where I looked at their cash on Ameren. I liked everything about it. I'm getting them at the right time. Their 52-week low. I'm right there. But then look at, then it's like negative 1.5 million, you know, and then negative 1.8. And then there's trailing 12 months is almost flirting with a million. And I'll compare them with what I'm familiar with. I'm from Wisconsin, so I know We Energies. You know, like We Energies, they're down a little bit, negative 42, but then they get back into it. They get positive. And the other one I know is Otter. They're like Minnesota, Nebraska, I want to say. They handle like 3 states. But like, then I look at Otter, I'm like, well, how is this power company? Okay, they were negative, but then they turn it around right away. So they're not, you know, it's if they're doing that well, they should have money aside, right? I mean, you figure, and that money should be increasing year after year, especially if they're a global brand that's been around for a while, like Harley Davidson. I mean, Harley Davidson had their problems. The pandemic killed them, but yeah, you know, they had $1 million, and then 855, 400 grand, and now the trailing 12 months are starting to flirt with 500 grand again. So in a scenario like this, you know, I'm perfect. Going forward, I think I have a really good brand and a real good chance at getting a return on investment.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else, other companies or general questions for?
I have one question. How often should you, I guess there's no like right answer, but how often should you invest, and like like, does it matter the number of companies you have, or is it better to like focus on like the same 5 companies? Because I've just been always like, I don't know, like I feel like it's hard for me to follow like just Carvana alone, and then like let alone like 5 other tech companies or
Yeah,
like,
you know yourself better than anybody else. So the rule that I always stick with, manage what you feel comfortable with. If it's one company, but one can be enough. You know, if you have that one gem like Carvana, if they're relevant in 10 years, like if you told me that they not only conquered every state in the US, but now they're going to Canada, now they're going to China, now they're going to Japan, you know what I mean? Like that could be the one that could be the only company you need, especially at $3, you answer that bell. That's really what investing comes down to. When the stock goes down like that, are you there to buy more shares? And if the answer is yes, you're going to be fine. As far, you know, if it rebounds and continues to do well, you're going to feel that in your bottom dollar. But just manage what you can, you know, just so you're not overwhelmed. Just feel comfortable with whatever you do. And, you know, if you can handle a couple more positions other than Carvana, then I would say definitely go for it. And obviously, you know, you want to budget, make sure you have enough money to invest, and so you're not, you know, sacrificing food or shelter. So you don't have to make a rash decision when you don't want to.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. But again, there's no real rule of thumb. It's just you know, if you're beginning, I would just, you know, I would say definitely 5 or under, and just and go for a goal. Like, you know, I would really encourage you, and I'll help you do it. You know, just set up a sheet like this, get whatever index you guys like, S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, or what have you, and just, this is piped into the market, by the way. So this is the last market price on Friday of the Dow Jones and all the stocks I have on here that I'm watching. And I put a 20% goal that's automated. So then I know, like, whatever it is, you know, that the 20% right there, that's just kind of my rule of thumb. That's what I know is possible. That's kind of like my minimal acceptance level. Like before I get into anything, I want to at least make 20%. That's like per year. And, you know, like with Harley, when I picked it up, I kind of had like a 3-month thing in mind. Obviously, it might not happen that way. I'm cool with keeping Harley for a long time because I believe in the company and their brand. But like when I entered Harley, I kind of thought, you know, if the market is the way I think it's going to be, I think in 3 months, you know, I'll be cool with my 20%. And at that time, I'll make decisions, you know, am I going to get out of Harley or keep them, or, you know, kind of analyze, do the market and see how I feel. Like if everything seems positive with jobs and rates and things like that, you know, then I'll make my decision at that time. But just setting something up like this can be so helpful. And I really didn't make the money that, you know, I thought was possible until I set something up like this. You know, I viewed it just like a in and out type of thing, you know, versus a life changing opportunity, if that makes sense.
Do you update the spreadsheet every day with the latest stock prices at the end of the day, Brian? Or like how often do
Actually,
you?
well, this does it for you.
Oh,
Yeah. So that's why you don't have to do anything. Like you can just go in here, and this is this Google Sheet. So you can set up your sheet, you can set up Carvana. And so like, let me show you all these. There, and then the formula is already done, and then boom. So that's the last price on Friday. And then if you come in here Monday, throughout the day, you can see the price fluctuate. And you can set up different algorithms, so like your 10% or 20% or however you want it done, you know? So it's already, this stuff is already done for you. Like the E column that you see, that 20%, that automates along with the market price. So that I don't have to do anything, you know what I mean? So you can
Yeah.
work for you. That's why, that's a genius part of setting this up, is because then when I recommend it, like I recommend IIPR, when it hit its low, $75, 11.13, it's at a 26% gain from that. And then I put the yield and then stuff that I like. So I put down my quick evaluation. I take the enterprise value divided by outstanding shares, and then the timing, like when I feel like when I find out about a company, I do the 52-week low, and if I'm entering at a good time, then I'll put that down. And then the 20%, I feel like, how likely am I to get my 20% investment? So that's the target price, and I grade that. And then I do my EPS growth. That's an annual growth, by the way. And then I grade it, like how incrementally it goes up, like, because that's things I depend on as an investor to rely on. And then free cash. So these are kind of my beginning essentials for me. But you might, you know, find different things that you like, whatever that might be. But you're able to do amazing things. And like I said, this is all free, but you do have to spend the time into it.
Mhm.
Well, like if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. That's a Buffett. So yeah, you can put whatever you want on here to kind of inspire you and want you to keep at it. But like on my own blog, you know, I have the earning per share, the dates, because that's a big thing, you know, when like Harley on February 9th, they're gonna give their fourth quarter for the year. And that's gonna play heavily on the stock price and dividend, like if they're gonna pay a higher dividend to the investors and things like that. But I hope that answered your question.
Yep, that did. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anything else that you had in your mind? Anything else, guys, or Emily, or anybody? Companies you want to look at, or prediction of this year? Or... Because I think this year will be solid. I think kind of our negative stuff was behind us. I think we'll be in for a pretty smooth ride. I don't know how much variance there'll be, like how much slope up or what have you, but I'm expecting about 10%. It's kind of my prediction of everything. Other than that, anybody have any other questions? Otherwise, I'll wrap it up. Maybe I'll try for another session next week. Otherwise, you know, I'm on Instagram as well. Make Stocks Fun, and my YouTube channel. And like I said, I do this daily, just try to find other companies. You know, my goal is to be a stock millionaire. I'm halfway there. And I definitely think, you know, I don't know when, but sooner rather than later, right? So maybe a couple Carvanas away from hitting that goal.
Brian, do you mind dropping your Instagram and your YouTube channel? I'm sorry, I missed.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll bring it up. So it's Make Stocks Fun.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then my Instagram. I really like Instagram, but I post. So this is my kind of stuff. Like I talk about Nike's new shoe. I'm a investor of Nike, and they came out with this Fly Ease. So for people that just want to slip on shoes, they have like a patent design. So I talk about that and different things. Different companies I run into that. So it's another way to keep contact with me and my ideas going forward. And like I said, I'm just here to help people. I know how hard it is. I know we're let down in school and through media. You know, politicians invest in stock and they don't really try to help you out. You know, they're in it for themselves, which I think is BS. You know, I think it should be in our schools. I think people should get, you know, how to budget money and everything like that. But for whatever reason, it's not in there. But if I'm successful later on, you know, I'll challenge the school systems and I'll get curriculum in school to help our kids, because it all starts there. You know, the sugar and cigarette companies know that all too well. You know, you got to market to the kids.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, I didn't learn anything about investing in college. I didn't even know what the like Dow Jones, Nasdaq, and S&P 500 till like a year or two after college.
Right. There's really nothing out there in my program that, you know, I'm going to start offering. There's nothing out there. Like I literally developed myself. There, you could go through 1,000 books. You're not going to read anything about FinViz, nothing about big charts. And those two are like the 1-2 punch, if you would. You know, like it's important that you have to figure out, you know, if the company can outpace the market. If it can't, you're doomed. You don't have a chance, you know. And the other side of the coin is to make sure that you have the earnings per share and the quality of a company. Without those are the essentials. Those are your building blocks. And I got really good at it. You know, I can literally look at 100 companies a day. You know, it takes me a few minutes to look at companies, and I show like real world examples on YouTube how quick I am at going through and accessing companies. And there's no rush. That's the beauty of it. We're right now, the market, you know, it's not that pandemic 2023-16 where, you know, I was rushing around getting as much money as I could into the market because I knew I was onto something. But right now, no, not so much. You know, the next 4 months, companies and people like myself are working on taxes. I got a lot of gains for last year. I got to work on how to get my losses or, you know, claim losses and things like that. And that's what people are doing until April 15th. So, you know, you have little market data that's not true of what the year will hold, but, you know, there's stuff to keep in mind. But otherwise, fun stuff. I appreciate you guys, you know, taking the time. It means a lot. And I'm glad that, you know, be proud of yourselves for at least showing up and wanting to learn, you know. And I can't teach this in obviously 50 minutes, but throughout X amount of time, I definitely can do a really good job because I was there, believe me. You know, I started with nothing and I developed into something, and it took a lot of losses and a lot of patience and a lot of hard knocks to get where I'm at now. But I'm willing to share it all with you guys, and so you can be successful investors as well. I think it's important to have financially sound people in our country.
Really appreciate you taking the time and teaching
Yeah.
some of this.
Yeah, I like to
Thank
think,
you.
you know,
Thank
the
you.
Lord gave me these gifts because I can pass them on to others, you know. I don't want to hold it from other people, you know. And like I said, my parents sent me to Evelyn Woods, which is a speed reading program. So I can literally go to Barnes and Noble and read 3 books an hour. And I go through all the books, and there's just nothing the way I have here, and the way it's one side is how it's presented, and another way it's being a community too, because you can get lost. You know, it's easy to turn into a gambler, you know, with the apps and stuff. It makes it really easy to lose money versus having a log like this that gets fundamentals set up. So then you start doing the legwork and looking at earning. It all goes back to earnings, guys. I mean, can you have a company go from $2 to $800 with losing money Absolutely. With no cash, negative cash, absolutely. You can have negative earnings for 4 years and you can have a company go to $2 to 800. I've seen it. I've seen it a lot. If you go to FinViz and just go on the PE, like I sort everything by PE. So this is a bad example because I had the, let me turn the free cash off. But if you put any here, you get 125 companies. And then probably by 4, yeah, see this, these dashes by PE, that means negative, that means they don't have PE, which means it's negative, it's all in the red. So these are all red companies. These are just companies that are hopeful, right? They're hopeful that they're going to make something into something because 9 out of 10 don't.
A lot of them look like crypto and biotech.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Well, no, I
don't-
mean, you can get into it like anything. You can go sector by sector. Basic materials. So you have one here that's communication services.
Spotify, is that public? I didn't know Spotify was public.
Yeah. Oh, Spotify. Yeah, they were with Joe Rogan. Remember? They did that $100 million to get Rogan on there.
Mm.
JRE channel. Yep, they're on here. They're not making money. They're starting to figure out they're way overpaid for Rogan, in my opinion. You know, he's good, but come on. 100 million? Are you guys kidding? I don't know. When you do something like that, it's just like, I don't know, man. I think they're missing something. I mean, he was good on YouTube. I like some of his stuff, but it's not like, I mean, there can be other people that can do what he does. It's not that hard. You have a name in the face or what have you, but some of these companies, you know, yeah, most companies are in the red. Most companies, it takes a while to get a brand, get their people in place, in the right place. That's what I was saying, like the execs, because an exec can know like certain investors, and that's what's missing a lot of time. Is not only the round of funding, but their expertise, what they bring to the field. Like a double whammy, you know what I mean? So sometimes they're just missing that one person that can change a company. That's why I showed you in the beginning that HY. It's just interesting how a company can go in the red, and then if they have positive results at the end of last year, you know, that would be literally 5 quarters of positive momentum. So then my mind is like, well, what products do you offer? What services, you know? And then I actually get on the phone and I call these companies and find out what they're all about. Because like I said, you know, in the beginning, it's literally one company. If you're at the right time with the right place and with one of these ideas, think of Tesla or Monster. I mean, there's just so many of them. You can't tell me that there's not companies right now that somebody's working for that's small, maybe Carvana, that might be next really big thing.
I
And
mean,
that's-
hopefully I'm there for the long run. Sorry.
Yeah. It kind of makes sense. You know, will they have the brand? Will they get enough people to buy through them? You know, all those questions. They might, like I was saying, they might be that one exec away, maybe a Toyota exec or somebody, vending business exec or something that knows how to get what they need done. But yeah, it's an interesting plan, and they're on my ticker for sure. You know, they've been, because I see them on the freeway, and you know, I take note of companies that, especially expanding ones. I put it down in my hot list. I check them out. You know, it's just, it's a forever type thing, but I'm always motivated because, you know, you find out one company. That's really what it's about. Because, you know, there's always so many breakthroughs. That's what's cool about the technology. I mean, do you know, like the medical field, you know, how many people here think that they'll have a pill that you'll take maybe per week, and there'll be an app on your phone and you'll have a readout. You think we're that far away from that? Can you visualize that?
Yes.
Do you think that in an oil change, a mechanic will put some in your car, you'll have a readout that's tied to your phone app? I could see that. You know, your car is vital, it's missing, cylinder 5 is missing, you know what I mean? Before all this stuff happens, you'll get a readout and you'll know up to the minute, just like your body functions, your blood, all that stuff. Cancer, there's a cancer developing in your left, blah, 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 you know? Go to your doctor and take blah, blah, blah and get it removed, you know? I think we're not that far away from all these like advancements. Will it be a company that we'll find out about early enough that'll change our lives? You know, that's how I think. A couple of years ago, they were, you know, the meteors were going to crash to Earth, and they were saying that the meteors have plutonium. You know, if you could figure out how to mine the meteors, that'd be the next quadrillionaire. Make Jeff Bezos look like a chump. So these ideas, they're everywhere. You know, 3D printers that print out drugs. I was saying that for 10 years. I think that's possible. You know, I think as senior citizens having to go to Walgreens to get their vitals, their vital medication in a snowstorm, think of things like that. A 3D printer would solve that problem. How far off are we from that happening? That's another question, but yeah, when you start thinking in those terms, it really changes your outlook. Are you, you know, just an investor? You're like a global entrepreneur is more like it, right? Like kind of like Buffett. I mean, that's how he's the most successful investor ever, because he looked at the investing. He's not just putting money in a stock. He's buying a company that he believes will change the world in one way or another. But those are some of my thoughts. So I'll leave you with that. And really good session today. Appreciate everyone taking the time. And, you know, I'll set another one for next week if that works for everybody. And we can see what other companies we can find.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
day, guys.
Thank
Thank you so much.
See you guys. Bye-bye.